Free Comic Book Day 2024. Hey everyone, Chris Mack coming at you with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Who is Night Watcher? I was really excited for this book because I remember when they introduced Raphael as Night Watcher in the, God, how many years ago was that? The 2010-something Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie that kind of followed the After Turtles 3 movie. I like that idea of Raph going out on his own after Leo left to try to become a better leader. And, of course, Raph was not taking it. So from what I understand from IDW, they're supposed to be introducing like a new turtle or something to that degree. But before we dive into that, let's talk about who created this. This is written by... Now, I'm not great with names, so if I destroy these, feel free to make fun of me down in the comments. Junai Ba, or Ba. Artwork by Fiero P. Colors by Luis Antonio Delgado. Letters, Nick Wittick. And then there's everyone else working on the comic. And I think what kind of killed me... So let's read this first page together, and then I'll explain why, for me personally, this comic is not working. So let's talk about it here where it says, there's an unsettling ease in how we treat the other as separate from ourselves. The refusal or inability to see similarity in something that appears different, even if it is evidently there. Over a year ago, a mutagen bomb exploded in New York City, turning a portion of the population to what many consider to be something other. A freaky stumble on the path. Now, with that said, I haven't been keeping up with the IDW Turtle comics because I don't really care, I'll be honest with you. I've tried, and I feel like they go way too many separate routes, which... It's cool that you have options to see which turtles you want to read, but it's hard in terms of like a continuity. You know what I mean? Feel free to break it down for me down in the comments. But they're saying that here, something to be purged and exploited. So these guys are breaking into a bank, and I guess this mutagen bomb part of town to rob a bank or whatever. And right now, we don't know what's up with the turtles, but we have this new character, the Night Watcher, who's watching over the citizens of this area. So, with all this said, the artwork's great, don't get me wrong. I think it's just after reading The Last Ronin, and spoilers if you haven't read it, but seeing as Michelangelo being the last surviving turtle trying to take back Manhattan with April and her daughter, that was great. And I think from what I understood, that was supposed to be Peter and Kevin's sort of ending, like logical ending to the turtles. And then we kind of went over the next generation or whatever to see how these new turtles, that is it Kyrie or Kari, I can't remember what April's daughter's name is, but she's supposed to raise them to be the next set of turtles, and she's like their sensei, all that jazz. So now we're going into another sort of post-apocalyptic world with this lone hero. I feel like it was too soon for me. So, yeah, and if you read it, a guardian, or if you do them harm, a beast of tremendous rage, a shield, a spear, a furious warrior's hand, well aimed at your heart. Now, the upsides to what I like here is it's given off that Dark Knight Return vibes, where there's like a hero coming in to protect the weak from all these baddies, for lack of a better term. But he says this money belongs to people. People from here. They need it. Like those animals gonna use that money for anything other than running this place into the ground. And like I said, the artwork's great. And the writing is good. It doesn't feel sloppy or, what do you call it? It doesn't feel kindergartenish or like Tumblr art style. So I like that they're introducing this new character. And I hope that it takes off. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like this was way too early after The Last Ronin. They should have maybe hung on to a couple more years until this came out to kind of let this post-apocalyptic sort of cyberpunkian story that we all just got blown away by for this. So I hope it takes off. I may be wrong, and I love when I'm corrected, like when I'll think a series sucks, and then it turns out to be great. Which leads us into one thing, well, actually two things. Before because there's a backup story. One thing about Free Comic Book Days is I know it's supposed to be like teasers for series that are coming out. But at the same time, it's like, can you just give us a full book? I know it's free, so I can't complain too much. But damn it, I want to read more of that. This backup story that we're going to get into in a moment, I did not like whatsoever. So anyway, point 2. A lot of these free comic books, oddly enough, start to increase in value. And if you're a collector like me, you try to keep them in relatively good shape. So, comic book shop owners, if you're watching, stop stamping your books. I would rather have a big empty white square than y'all's big rubbery print going whap right on the book. Stop it. I don't like it. It drove me nuts, every single one of them. So I tried to grab the ones that didn't get as good of a stamp because that's just me. It's like when you actually see a fingerprint on a comic book, you just, yeah. Okay, which leads me into this backup story. Now, it wasn't horrible. This would be more fun. Like, it's called Splinter's Day Off. For me, this would be something more for, like, to read to my son. And he's starting to enjoy the Turtles, so I'm trying to find more of that old Archie feel for him. So this is Paul Aller writing, artwork by Andy Kuhn, which Andy Kuhn's awesome dude. Colors by Rhonda Pattison, letters by Nathan Whittick, editor Nicholas Nino, and group editor James S. Rich. So, again, if you're more of a kind of old, crotchety old man like me, you're going to kind of go, So you have to kind of turn that part of you off to realize this is fun. Still, So we see that Splinter's in the midst of them trying to meditate. Mikey playing games, Raph working out. Leo, oddly enough, kind of goofing off. And then, of course, Donnie working on his gadgets. And the cacophony of adolescence happens. Things start breaking. People start getting too loud. And, of course, Splinter has had enough. He goes, "My sons! I have tried so hard to teach you the value of vigilance. If our enemies attacked tonight, would you have known? Would you have heard them coming? There is a time for levity, but you must learn to understand when that is." So he tells them to go patrol and work on their vigilance. And so here, this is where I said, if you're like an older kind of crotchety, you got to turn this off, because Splinter pretends he's sitting down to meditate after he gets the boys out of the house. And then, no children! Now, being a dad, we love our kids. We will die for our kids. But there are moments where you say, go to your room, play with your toys, go chase the dogs in the backyard. Give me 5 minutes. Trust me, the struggle is real. So, from a parent's point, this is, okay. Just as a turtle collector, reading this by myself, no. Now, this comic, this particular backstory, is definitely something you can read with your kids, because the turtles are sort of wondering why Splinter's so crotchety. He's like, we could have had a night off, but you just had to go and annoy Master Splinter. What? I'm not the one who punched a punching bag off its chain. No, you're just the one who drove him crazy with all the bing, bing, zap, zap. And while they're arguing, cut back to the lair, and Splinter's playing bing, bing, zap, zap, which I will admit, I mean, I'll sit down, I'll play Legos with my kid on the PlayStation, which I don't mind, but after a while, you're like, God, this is annoying. So after he goes to bed, of course I'm going to load up Red Dead Redemption. Of course I'm going to load up Fallout or Alien Isolation. So you just, as a parent, you sometimes just need that moment to and feel like yourself again. So from that point, it's fun. You know, Splinter tries to monkey with Donatello's gadgets, gets zapped, which of course parents are going to tinker with their kids' stuff because they're curious, and the kids are going to be like, why are you playing my Guitar Hero? Yes, I'm old. Don't judge. But the turtles get caught off guard, and they go, the Foot Clan, they snuck up on us. Like ninjas or something. And then, of course, Leo, being the stern leader, hey, you know what might have prevented this? Vigilance, as Raph gets smacked in the face. A little bit of vigilance. And so while they're getting their butts kicked, Splinter's just enjoying being himself. And at the end, they kind of have a great moment where everybody kind of comes back together. So, if you're looking for the gritty Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the old school Mirage Studios, the first book's going to be more for on your own. The backstory, definitely you can sit down and read with your mom and your kid, with your mom. It's like an insult. You can read that with your mom. can read with your kid and your significant other all together as a family. So it is what it is. It's just personal preference. For me by myself, nah. But as a dad, that part of me can appreciate what's being written there. So with that said, if you guys have enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost go support your local comic shop, because a lot of times they'll get an overstock. So for the next couple of weeks, they may have leftovers. So make sure to grab yourself a copy if you want to see about this Night Watcher and all that good stuff, and just have something fun to read with your kids and the people in your life. And if you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate it. Take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little pizza bell next subscribe, that way as I get to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel. And I love talking with y'all, hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or the socials, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.